What's up, you guys? My name is Noah Friss, and this is the Sit Down. Alright, you guys, so I'm here today with my good friend Jason Royes. He is secretly going to be the next future city councilman of Ward 4, but we're going to get to that in a second. Today we're doing a really special segment. I have not really given it a name yet, but it's really dope. Basically, I sit down with people, not only in my community, but random people in the community, and I have a conversation with them. The conversation goes as follows. We take something out of this hat. This hat consists of different topics, different ideas, and the individual that I'm speaking with, we have to discuss this topic. We both lay out our stance on the topic, and then we have a discussion as to why we agree on these issues or why we disagree. And the whole purpose of this is to really show people how political dialogue is supposed to take place, how political discourse is supposed to take place, and it's really supposed to bring new light to a new way of having conversation about politics. So now that I'm finished explaining everything and now we have an understanding of what's going on, I'd love for Jason to introduce himself and to speak about who he is and what he's doing.
Thank you, Noel. So my name is Jason Royes. I live in the north end of Providence, lived there for the last 10 years now, and I'm going to be running for city council. I already announced, so I'm running for city council in Providence's 4th Ward. So thank you, Noel, for having me on your program. I appreciate it.
And listen, it's gonna be dope. We're gonna have a real deal conversation. We gotta pick a name out of the hat. So let's do this. All right, you guys, so this is gonna be really simple. Jason's just gonna pick a topic out of the hat, and then we're just gonna discuss the topic. So let's do this.
All right. I can't look, right?
Nah, you can't look. You guys do that secretly.
All right.
I'll shake it up for you. Pick that out. Pick that out.
I'm in. Oh, this is a shrink. Oh, this is 2. All right. Oh, tax stabilization.
I wanted this one. I wanted it.
This is great.
Oh my God! I got smoke, and my man Jason got all the smoke.
I'm gonna get my Bernie Sanders on. That is such a great topic. Where do we start? All right. I hate this. I hate TSAs so much. I do.
So let's do this right. So let's break it down to
why I hate them, or
no. Let's talk about.
I'm my fault for cutting you off. Go
No,
ahead.
it's straight. So let's talk about it on a local level, because I feel like that's the best way we can have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
So let's first talk about your stance on tax stabilization. Let's talk about why you think it's an issue, and then give me solutions you have for it.
So I'm really not in favor of the tax stabilization agreement. So basically, the TSA with that is you're stabilizing the taxes for these companies. So you're stabilizing it for a certain amount of years, depending on how much this project is going to cost. So, for example, let's just say if a project costs like $1 million, they would get I think a 15-year TSA. So like the first 5 years they wouldn't be paying anything. Then the 5th year they would pay like 5% out of 95% of what they have to pay for in taxes and things like that. It's kind of confusing, but it's something along the lines. And the reason why I'm really not in favor of these TSAs, one, they're really given to wealthy developers and corporations that really don't need it. Mm-hmm. And 2, I don't know if they're really abiding by the first source ordinance. And the first source ordinance, what that is, it's basically any person that breaks ground or starts a business in Providence, they have to hire from within the city first. And I don't know if they're currently doing that. I don't think that they're currently doing that. And for me, it's the whole argument is, and the reason why people love TSAs and are for it is because it's supposed to stimulate the economy. But I have never seen a study that shows proof that these active TSAs have helped the Providence economy. So I'm in favor of maybe awarding small businesses like a neighborhood TSA, and I think we have that as well in place. But from my understanding, only like the Federal Hill Pizza and Truck Stone has received that. I'm open to being wrong. And the reason why I'm in favor of small businesses getting some sort of tax stabilization agreement is, one, our small businesses already have to jump through hoops. And small businesses typically hire locally and hire from within our neighborhoods. So that's why I'm in favor of that. And their small business owners would probably need a TSA over these wealthy developers. And what we're seeing with that, it's not really, we're seeing luxury apartments getting TSAs, we're seeing hotels getting TSAs. So it's not something that's really helpful for Providence, right? That's why I'm really not in favor for them.
Alright, so do you feel like there's a way to, I feel like you already gave me the answer, but so we could specify it, do you feel like there's a solution for this whole tax stabilization issue that the city's dealing with?
Yeah, so, well, first thing first, what I would like to do if in council, I'd like to get all the list. Well, alright, here's also my issue with that. Tax stabilization agreements are not even really open to the public. Like, I don't even know how to find the contractual
so you really
agreement.
can't give me...
Like, I don't know what's a return on investment, like, I don't know what's their risk, I don't know any of that, like, I can't give that information out. And even as a person that's running for city council, it's frustrating. Because my constituents, they're asking me these questions, and what type of candidate do I look like if I can't even answer these questions?
Yeah.
So, and that's just the issue that everyone's facing. Not everyone, well, there's a select few that have this information, but the rest of the state of province, we don't. So, to answer your question, is there a solution? So, first things first, in council, I'd like to get a list of all of the active businesses that have all the active TSAs, and I want to make sure that they are hiring from within first, and if they're not, they should be penalized. Or they should be getting, because if they're not meeting the contractual agreements, they should be stripped of their TSA and start paying into the system.
You think TSA should be public?
Yeah, 100%. There actually should be a community board that oversees like the TSAs. So if I'm a business owner, I'm not just going to go to the city council or just go to the mayor. There should be a community board. There should be some sort of community beneficiary agreement on top of that. So it should make sense for the city, province, and the corporation or business, whatever.
For the people at home, can you explain what a community beneficiary agreement is?
So, I mean, basically, community beneficiary agreement is kind of what's in its name. It's an agreement between folks within a community. It could be a board. It could just be a group of people within a city. And so in this agreement, we were talking about they have to hire a certain amount of people within this community. They have to help out the community. By helping out, they have to make improvements, either donate to a local park, donate to charities within this community, or youth sports program, like sponsor a baseball team. So things like that. So that's kind of what a CBA is. I mean, it's more to that, but in the simplest terms, that's what a CBA would be.
All right. So I agree with you on many things, and now I'll be providing smoke. I'm very upset with the city of Providence. I'm very upset because we have really high tax rates, and we have all these individuals, and I know a lot of great individuals who have such great ideas when it comes to building these small businesses, and they can't do that because there are no spaces. There are not spaces being developed for these small businesses to enter. A lot of the spaces that do exist are non-profit driven.
Because our tax rate's so high, there's no real entrepreneurship within the city. It's tough. We have one of the highest commercial tax rates in this country.
Yeah.
Again, like,
and for property that's not even worth that much.
Yeah, and if you think about it too, we should not be in this pickle in this city. Like we have the third highest income inequality in Providence. We have the third highest in the nation. We have some of the highest commercial tax rates in the nation. We should not be in this pickle.
Yeah, and I feel like tax stabilization plays a role in that because the reality is these tax stabilization should be given to the people, to the local businesses, and I know that's something that you're running on, and I wholeheartedly agree with that,
man.
Because as somebody who's studying economics, I understand that as a big business, there are a lot of things that come into account when it comes to investment. You look at your liabilities, you look at your assets, and you take these things into account. You look at all the capital you have.
Yeah.
You look at the opportunity cost of building in this area. For those who don't know, opportunity cost is when you are going to invest in one thing, but you have the possibility of investing in something else. So that something else is your opportunity cost for deciding to invest in something. So just as you said, these TSAs are not open to the public. No. So I have no idea what these people, I don't know their opportunity cost. I don't know their liabilities. I don't know their assets. I don't know how much capital they have.
And
I'm sorry,
yeah,
let me
go
just
ahead.
finish
No,
the
I'm sorry,
sentence
go ahead.
because I'm
Yeah, no,
on the
do
dot
it.
right now.
Do it.
I'm trying to understand, why are these giant businesses coming in and they're arguing they need these tax stabilizations? Why are you breaking ground
So-
and don't have the capital and the liability and the assets, not the liabilities, you don't have the assets to be able to develop without the need of a tax break? Because there are a lot of businesses that have done it without a tax break. So I'm trying to understand, why are you trying to break ground? And I get it that a lot of these cities are competing with one another. We had the whole issue with Amazon in Rhode Island. And, Gina Raimondo wanted to give this giant tax break to Amazon, just as every other country in the world. But the issue is, you're just pandering into the capitalistic hand. You're allowing them to have these massive tax breaks, when the reality is they don't need them. It's just to increase profits that are not going to go back into anyone's hands except theirs. And it's been proven time after time again.
The wealth is just going to continue to stay on top. I agree with you. But so this is the thing. So I have to choose my words here. So I would be in a so if a TSA, I would be in favor of a tax stabilization agreement if it absolutely made sense to the city. If I knew that they were really going to produce jobs with competitive wages for folks within a city, I don't think I would disagree with having that in place, but we're not really seeing that right now. So what Providence, what we do have in place is, it's like a neighborhood TSA. I believe it's called the Neighborhood Revitalization Act. And I spoke on it before. Federal Hill Pizza is the only organization or company that really has one, I believe, or that was the beneficiary of that program.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to figure out a way how to spread this information of this wonderful program to the rest of the city.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot. We don't do enough for the small businesses. I feel like we really cater to these wealthy developers, these real estate moguls, before we support people like your parents that own property in the city. So it's tough. It's tough. But again, we need folks at the council level. We need leadership in the city that's going to say no to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to come in here and tell us that, it's cheaper to build in Boston, but we want to do it here.
Yeah.
My thing is, if it's cheaper to build in Boston, go build in Boston. And I don't even, if you're gonna threaten us with your business, then leave. I don't want your business at all.
Yeah.
It's just plain and simple.
And my thing with this entire issue with the cranes in the sky, the apartments being built, I need to see the data that shows that there's actually a high demand for these apartments. I need to see the data that's showing that there's actually a market for this stuff. And I need to see what the effects are going to be, because Boston got the way it was for a reason. And San Francisco's getting that way. And a lot of these major cities are. And these are bubbles. And for those at home who don't know, I don't want to get into a big description of how a bubble works. But basically, it's when a water bottle costs more than it's supposed to cost.
Yeah.
If a water bottle is worth $1 and it goes up to $5, and it's sold for $5, when it's not, to make it is not worth that much. Its value is not worth that much. It's going to burst, and it's going to astronomically drop in price, which is what's going to happen in these major cities. So my fear is, when that happens in Providence, what are we going to do? Because that's what it's gearing towards. The city's not worth this much, and the city's gearing towards this trend. So I just need you to help me understand that hypocrisy. I need you to help me understand why we aren't moving forward from that unfulfilled promise.
What are the two major property, real estate property businesses?
Palino, and I forgot the other name.
Caprinato Group. I think there's another one as well. So there's really only 3 real estate property groups that really buy out these buildings and lots. And why is that? Why are we allowing to only have 3 big companies to do this? That's just not, to me, again, that's not, people aren't getting, it's oligarchy.
Yeah,
people
and
are
it hinders
monopolizing.
growth, and it hinders
it's we're only keeping the wealth up top to the 3 people that are controlling everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. But what we can do is we could really put our foot down. We could really start saying no to folks. we can really start getting proximate to these issues. So I've been reading a lot of books from Brian Stevens. You know about Brian Stevens, he's really big on the criminal justice reform, and he always talks about getting proximate to these issues. And what our city really needs to do is get proximate to the community, so the mayor and the folks at the council level can go to, let's just say, La Gran Parada, and did I pronounce it right?
Yeah. For those who don't know, it's a Spanish restaurant.
I'm
in
nasty.
Providence, Rhode Island.
I'm getting good. So, I mean, the city can go to like La Gran Parada and talk about the revitalizing or redoing their storefront. And I don't know if I don't believe so. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of, since canvassing, I've spoken to business owners, and I've been talking to them about that, all of the opportunities and the things that the city has to offer for businesses. They're telling me that they have no clue about that. So that just goes to show right then, and that just goes to show to me that we are not proximate to the folks of Providence.
Yeah.
So community conversations are great, and I love that they happen. We need to have them more often. We need to have them in places like the Hartford Projects, Chad Brown, Glendale. We need to have community conversations in those places as well. We can't forget about those folks. They are part of the Providence, and they are fabric of Providence. Mm-hmm. So we need to have them more often. We need to not just host these community conversations, but we can't forget as elected officials, door knocking. We do it when we want to get elected or running for re-election. So, but we can't forget we got to continue to do that even once we're elected. I would even I know it sounds crazy, but I'd love to have like a report card. I mean, we have report cards in school. I'd love to send a report card to all my constituents, ask them how I'm doing, what the city can do better, or even doing that for businesses. Send out a little questionnaire. What can we do? Do you know about these programs? Like,
yeah,
different
utilizing
things
the
like that. Yeah. So I just don't think we're engaging the community as much as we possibly should.
Yeah.
Or could.
Okay.
So
this is kind of the end of the segment. I'm gonna give Jason the final word, but we're just gonna give our final thoughts and just say whatever else is on our mind and what we think people should know. So I'm gonna just start off real quick. So I really do understand that tax stabilization is a really big issue, because the reality is how a city makes, how a city's budget is funded is predominantly done through real estate tax.
Absolutely.
And everyone knows that. That's a very common thing in many major cities. So when you have tax stabilization, what you're doing is you're cutting away from that. And you're doing it on the backs of a lot of the local businesses and a lot of the local property owners. And it frustrates me because I feel as if you're making one individual or group of corporations better off at the expense of a lot of individuals.
Yeah.
And I really feel like the city of Providence has to be more open about its TSAs. I think the city of Providence has to be more.
Yeah.
The city of Providence has to have more dialogue with its citizens when it comes to these TSAs. I think we need to start bringing in businesses that are going to help the community. They're going to provide resources to the community.
Yes.
And I really believe that we need to start highlighting the cultural things that we have in this area. And I'm going to say something that is going to get a lot of people steamed up, and this might be the clickbait part of this video. The reality is the city of Providence invests so much into downtown. PVD Fest in downtown. All these different events and things going on in downtown. We highlight downtown, all this money, all this tax stabilization going on in downtown. We're even putting hotels near residential areas in the West End and in the South Side so people can stay in them and then travel down to the south, to downtown.
We have a hotel in the North End now too, right by the Stop and Shop over there. So,
and this bothers me because it seems like we're pandering towards downtown, when the reality is there is a lot of diverse culture. We are one of the most diverse cities in the country, and the reality is we need to start having festivals in the South Side. We need to start having festivals in the West End. We need to start highlighting things more, and I'm not going to act as if the Dominican Festival and the Puerto Rican Festival do not exist, and other Hispanic festivals and also African festivals that happen in the city. But the reality is the city of Providence needs to start putting more money into these things. They need to start providing tax stabilization for the businesses that participate in these events. And we need to start investing and highlighting our culture instead of pushing onto people this idea of a vibrant downtown, because it's condescending, it feels a little elitist, and it separates the city from its downtown.
Yeah.
And honestly, there has to be a legitimate dialogue on how we can develop the city
while simultaneously building up all its parts. Because I'm gonna say something that's crazy. Shout out to Dan McGowan, because he reported that the budget had increased for the city of Providence, and it's because of a lot of the development that was going on. But my question is this: how much more development would you have gotten? How much more money in that budget would you have gotten if you had given the tax stabilization to these people, and if you had funded festivals and events happening in the different parts of the city, not just in downtown?
So I guess I agree with you. I do. So my, I guess, final word for these tax stabilization agreements, another reason why I don't really like them at all, 48% of Providence is filled, the taxable land of Providence is filled with non-taxed entities. Like the Brown universities, like the hospitals, PC, all the, other great things. So to me, it just doesn't make sense to, award folks TSAs. It doesn't. And to answer your question, celebrating the culture, like different cultures in Providence, I agree. I would love, I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. I would, see, we celebrate the Italian heritage in Federal Hill, and we should celebrate the Latin culture of the South Side, like celebrate that. We have so many great restaurants. We have, just, oh my God, it's incredible. I love it. But we don't do enough to celebrate the heritage and the culture. Like when every Juneteenth just happened. We should be doing something like that. When I spoke at the Martin Luther King, they had a Martin Luther King event at the East Providence Town Hall. And they had elementary school kids come, they had parents, they had folks from East Providence come in. We don't really do something like that. We should have storytellers come into the Providence City Hall and invite elementary school kids, middle school kids, high school kids to come there and share their heritage. And that's, I guess we do things like that, but it happens during the day at 2 p.m. Folks don't get out of work till 5 p.m. We should open it after 5 p.m., open it on the weekends. So I agree with you. And again, 48% of Providence, 48% taxable land of Providence is filled with non-tax institutions and entities. We cannot afford to keep awarding corporations and wealthy developers these tax stabilization agreements, because again, then now we start looking for creative ways to start taxing to get money. And so we put speed cameras up and we keep putting more progressive tax policies in place. So it just, we have to figure out something, and we have to start getting money from the wealthiest individuals and the wealthiest folks, because they're the ones that benefit from the back of the folks that struggle the most, and the middle class of Providence. So yeah, so no, I don't like TSAs, and I'm not for it if it doesn't make sense.
All right, you guys. So thank you, Jason, for coming out and speaking with me. I really do appreciate it. I really wish you the best of luck with your campaign.
Thank you.
I'm going to be involved with it. I'm very biased.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me. I always appreciate your support. It's been great. So election happens on September 12th. I need everyone's support. I need volunteers. So again, thank you so much. And my name is Jason Royas, and I'm a candidate for City Council in Providence's 4th Ward. So thank you, Noel, so much. Appreciate it.
No, of course. You had to slip that one in. I'm gonna let him slip it in. So again, you guys, please like, subscribe, share. If you want me to talk to anybody else you think, and this is the thing, it doesn't have to be a politician.
No.
It doesn't have to be somebody that's in office. Honestly, it's whoever you want me to have a conversation with. The whole purpose of this is to have dialogue. It doesn't have to be somebody who knows the issues. It could be something about somebody who's not really that educated on the issues. The whole purpose of this is for us to have legitimate dialogue and to do it in a peaceful manner like we just did, and to be able to walk away from the conversation and do this. Because that's all that matters. That politics doesn't divide and doesn't lead to more division and more hatred. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Noel.